0%. That's what the schedule pays for a hernia that got fixed, however bad it was on the way to being fixed. And the ladder above 0 doesn't start with pain. It starts at 3 centimetres. There's also one rule in this code where the VAAD is 10% instead of combining it, which it almost never does. Carry that with you.
7,338. One code, and it swallowed nearly all of them. Femoral, inguinal, umbilical, ventral, incisional, and a catch-all for other. The only one carved out is hiatal, which lives with the reflex codes instead.
Look at what that consolidation did, though. My read is it made the criteria the same for a groin hernia and a big surgical scar hernia, and those aren't the same injury at all.
Yeah. Same ruler, different bodies, Liam.
And here's the sentence that decides most of these claims before anybody argues about size. Asymptomatic hernia, present and repairable, or repaired, 0%. If a surgeon fixed it and it stayed fixed, the schedule is done with you.
Which is most hernias.
So say the word recurrent out loud because it does a lot of work. The code says new or recurrent. A hernia that was repaired, held for 2 years, and came back through the same wall is recurrent, and recurrent counts as irreparable for this purpose. That is a completely different claim from the one that never came back. And the veteran often does not know the difference matters.
It is, and I'd rather say that plainly than sell you a claim you can't win. Every single paying tier opens with the same 2 words, irreparable hernia, and then adds present for 12 months or more. Both of those are gates, not adjectives.
Before we go further, Grace, what does irreparable actually mean here?
Not fixable, or fixed and back again. New or recurrent, the code says both. And once you're through that gate, everything comes down to a tape measure, one thing before the next part, and then we move right on. If any of this is clicking, tap that like, hit subscribe, and ring the bell for the next one. It takes a second, it costs nothing, and it helps more than you would think. A tape measure, 1 dimension, and 2 numbers on it. Professor Marchetti is at the desk to settle something we couldn't. Ingrid, the sizes.
Hold on, the question isn't how big the hernia feels, it's the measurement in 1 dimension. Under 3 centimetres, irreparable, 12 months, and you're at 10% with nothing else required. 3 up to 15 puts you in the middle band. 15 or greater opens the top 2.
$180.42 a month for the smallest one for a veteran alone, effective December 1st, 2025. No pain finding needed at that tier at all.
My read is that's the most overlooked line in the code. 10% for a small irreparable hernia and nothing else asked of you.
9 times out of 10, the measurement is nowhere in the file. An examiner writes small or reducible or a couple of centimetres. None of those is a number.
Erica, cheap move now. Ask for it in centimetres, in writing, before you file.
And note the wording is 1 dimension, not area, not volume. A long, narrow incisional hernia can clear 15 centimeters on its length alone while looking modest from the front.
So the direction you measure changes the tier, which raises the obvious one. Who actually takes that measurement?
It can. Hold that. Because size alone only gets you to 10. The rest needs a second finding entirely.
And how would a veteran get that measurement if nobody has ever taken it? My read is most people assume it is in there somewhere.
Ask the examiner during the exam and ask the surgeon's office for the operative note if there was ever an attempt. Surgical reports describe defect size in centimetres as a matter of routine because the surgeon needed it to choose a mesh. The number usually exists. It is simply sitting in a document nobody attached to the claim.
Look at the second finding, because this is where the money actually moves.
Pain when performing the following activities. There are exactly 4, and they're named bending over, activities of daily living, walking, and climbing stairs. What sets your tier isn't how bad the pain is. It's how many of the 4 you can't do without it.
Yeah. Erica, it's a grid, not a ladder.
It is 3 to 15 centimeters with pain on one activity is 20%. Same size, pain on 2 is 30. 15 or more with pain on 2 is 60. 15 or more with pain on 3 is 100.
$1,435.02 at 60%. And the difference between 30 and 60 is centimeters, not suffering.
Which is uncomfortable, and it's the honest reading. 2 veterans in identical pain, one at 30 and one at 60, separated by a measurement neither of them took.
And the pain has to have been there 12 months as well. Not just today.
Both things are true. The criteria are mechanical, which feels cold, and mechanical criteria are the easiest kind to prove because you can write 4 sentences about 4 named activities and you're done.
4 sentences. That's the whole evidentiary burden on the second half.
With one catch on the 12 months, and it is worth being precise about. The code puts both findings inside that window, size present for 12 months or more, and the pain present for 12 months or more. So a hernia that grew large last month does not reach the top bands yet, however painful it is. The clock is part of the criteria, not a formality in front of them.
Yeah. Which means the date you first reported the pain is evidence. Ingrid's still with us for the rule I promised at the top.
Note 1. With 2 compensable inguinal hernias, evaluate the more severely disabling hernia first, and then ADD 10% to that rating for the second, not combine, add.
Read me the actual line, not the summary.
Then add 10% to that rating to account for the second compensable hernia. Those are the words.
Fine. That's the clause.
And that's genuinely unusual. Nearly everything in this schedule combines, which is why 10 and 10 make 19. Here 30 plus 10 is 40, straight addition.
I'll hedge this because I've only got the file. A veteran in the sourced case file, 60s, retired Navy, bilateral inguinal hernias, both irreparable, both over 3 centimeters, and
Both rated separately or both folded into one.
folded. 1 rating, 30%, done. That's the hinge. Nobody applied note 1.
So he sat at 30 when the code says 40.
And the only limit is at the top. You don't add the 10 if the more severely disabling hernia is already rated 100%. Everywhere below that, the 10 is owed.
Why would the schedule single out inguinal hernias for that though? Look at the other types. An umbilical and an incisional hernia get no such rule.
Because inguinal hernias are the ones that genuinely arrive in pairs, the anatomy is symmetrical, and the strain that produced one produced the other. The schedule is not being generous there. It is acknowledging that a bilateral groin repair is 2 separate problems in one body, and combining them would have understated it.
Ingrid, thank you. Note 1 being an addition and not a combination is the thing I'll be repeating all year.
Ask them what an activity of daily living actually is. That note matters just as much.
So answer Ingrid, because this note is smaller than the others and does just as much work. Any one of the following activities of daily living are sufficient for evaluation: bathing, dressing, hygiene, and / or transfers.
Anyone. Not all 4.
So if bending to wash your own feet hurts, that's the ADL activity satisfied, the whole category, off one thing. And transfers means getting in and out of a bed or a chair, which is the one people never think to mention.
My read is that turns a 4-item list into a much shorter conversation.
It does, and the 4 ADLs are worth naming properly because people describe the wrong things. Bathing, dressing, hygiene, transfers. Not cooking, not driving, not working. Those are real hardships and they are not on this list. If the sentence in your record is about missing work, it is doing nothing for you here, and one line about pulling on your own trousers would.
Read me the money then.
$1,254.60 a month between the bottom of this code and the 60% tier. And every step of that is a measurement or a sentence somebody did or didn't write down. Now the honest part, because I've been building toward a claim and I want to knock it down first. You're right that this looks like free money sitting in a tape measure, and for most veterans it isn't, because most hernias get repaired and stay repaired, and a repaired hernia is 0% no matter how rough the surgery was. If that's you, this is not your claim, and no amount of describing pain will change it. But if yours came back, or was never fixable, then you're inside a code where the criteria are unusually mechanical and the evidence is 4 sentences and 1 number. That's my verdict.
3 things before you file. Size in centimetres, in writing. All 4 activities described, not just the worst. And if it's bilateral inguinal, cite note 1 by name. If this saved you a wasted filing, hit like and subscribe so the next veteran sees it before their exam. I'll answer this one myself first. I'd have described the pain and never given them a number. So here's what I want from you. Has anyone ever written your hernia's size down in centimetres? Get the number, then file. I'm Grace, and I'll see you at the next one.